Yeah, so this is kind of an introduction video. Basically, the whole concept of this project is Florian Wirtz has been one of the best players for the past 2 seasons, right? He's been phenomenal. He's a young player, so he has heaps and heaps of potential that makes him probably destined to be one of the best players in the world. But currently, his time at Liverpool has been very underwhelming, to say it best, right? And I think this is one of the few scenarios of players failing, and I just can't quite put a pin on it, right? I think before in the past we've seen players who were very overhyped, right? Or, people who were one season wonders, right? They had a really good season, a singular season at XY club, and they go to AB club and they can't, create that magic they had in that one season. This guy, he's had 2 good seasons, and he showed that not only the first season was a fluke, but he honestly surpassed it, showing that his potential was only climbing rather than declining. But this season at Liverpool, new club could be that, but I don't see a player who looks like, they're out of their depth or looks like a new league is completely ruining them. I think certain other clubs, sometimes their fans can be very critical, but I don't see that at Liverpool. I think that, I don't think Florian Wirtz really has that much pressure on him, but did have a big price tag, which shows how good he was, the past 2 seasons to now he kind of looks average to below average in performance-wise, at least statistically. And that's kind of the idea of this project is how bad is he actually playing? But why are the stats so different, right? Statistically he is playing a lot worse. But is he actually playing, that much worse? And so I'm going to go through this project and go through kind of like my levels of thinking here. And today, this is just the introduction. This is a base video. I'm going to start kind of gathering ideas. Please, in the comments, feel free to leave any ideas, anything you think I should try out or explore. And we'll see it. All right, so first up, I just want to compare the two heat maps. On the left hand, you can see from the current season at the Premier League with Liverpool what his heat map looks like. And on the right, this was his Florian Wirtz's breakout season, and this specifically his heat map for the Bundesliga for Bayer Leverkusen. See, fairly similar, right? Occupying the half spaces and kind of in between the mid and the offensive third. Things I do want to highlight, it does look like he has spent a little bit more time kind of in the box and less defensively compared to his time at Liverpool, right? So that might be a thing of expectations. I think you can't score or even assist a lot if you're not spending as much. I think time in the box is the most relevant to how you can up your GA, your goals and assists. But I want to also kind of go to what I've coded so far. So this is heat map PI Python script and a get match Python script. The get match isn't really important. It just helps me correctly filter out and get the correct match ID, right? And so a lot of the stats that actually help go into creating the heat map is provided by a stats bomb, which is just a Python library that kind of has like a random collection of games and matches, or it's usually by season, so it has random seasons. So luckily, you can see here we have the 23-24 season and the Bundesliga 23-24 season. But it's like the other season, it's just completely random. So we got kind of lucky almost. But it's just cool because it allows me to create it. So here, what you're going to see is we're converting the data we're collecting into heat maps. So I actually want to go all the way down here and we're loading player events. So a lot of this is hard coded since this is specifically centered towards Florian Wirtz. So we're looking at his 23-24 data that is provided through a stats bomb. So a lot of this was hard coded, but when we send in our match ID, we're gonna get all the information for the games that he played, but specifically the game that match ID references. We can then define touch types. Basically, when he was touching the ball, when he was getting the ball is kind of similar, right? Because what I'm doing, instead of making like maybe a traditional heat map of where he spends his time, I want to see actually where he's getting the ball, right? If you're expected to get the ball more defensively in the field, then I can expect that you're not going to have as many goals or assists, right? The higher up the field, the closer you are to scoring, the easier it is A to score or B to set someone else to score. So that's why I wanted to highlight these things where he's like receiving the ball, where he's receiving passes. I also wanted to look at the passes he makes, right? If you're really bad at passing, you're probably not going to get a lot of assists. His carries, dribbles, and shots, right? If he's not taking as advantage shots or just not taking as many shots, you can't expect someone to score as many goals. So that's what I'm expecting, is seeing kind of his offensive capabilities or lack of what is actually setting this the wrong route here. So you can see there's a lot of processing for the location, which is really nice. Stats bomb, all the stats they have, like all these touch types are kind of listed as events, and each event also has an XY coordination. And for the passes, you can see I have to add the end X, so both where it came from, but also where it goes to. And you're going to see a nice kind of arrow representing the passes. And then for this, you can see I have successful and unsuccessful events. And you'll see that for coloring, right? So I just had all the green passes, all the passes that are successful be green, and unsuccessful being red. So I wanted to look at that too when it comes to, is he making, less passes, or is he making less accurate passes? Right there. Other notable functions here is probably just the convert to heat map, right? Where we're taking all the data and putting it into the nice heat map. So actually, you're going to see it. Let me just load this so you can understand kind of what I'm describing here. So first of all, I need to run my get match script, and I'm going to actually hop on back to this, and we're going to pull for this game here, 5-0. Florian Wirtz gets 3 goals. I think it's very important. And so this is Bayer Leverkusen home, Bremen away. So we're going to jump back into my data. And here you can see everything is listed by all of the Bayer Leverkusen matches. Home team on the left, away team on the right, and the match ID which we need. And luckily, that was kind of random, the game we need is right here, with Leverkusen home, Werder Bremen away. So now we're going to hop in on the heat map script. And so what it's going to do is ask for us to enter our match ID. We copy that, we just paste it here, and it generates the Florian Wirtz touch and pass map. So it's not a traditional heat map. And on the right, these are actually the SofaScore stats, right? His rating, how much minutes he played, goals, assists, shots, dribbles, and touches. So hopefully you can see goals 3. We actually open this up all the way. You can see I actually have his little scorecard here, and we want to really compare this. So minutes played 45. You can see this is the right game. Pass. You can see didn't get an assist. Shots. You can see his shots. But specifically, let's look at that heat map there. Compare it to mine. So mine, you can see the passes, green being the accept, right? And the arrow where it points, the end of the point, is where the pass ended up going to, right? So the end X, the end Y are those. The initial X and Y are the starts of the passes where he actually made his passes. See, only 2 unsuccessful passes, so it's really accurate. But 45 minutes played, got 5 shots off. You can see where he took. So the soccer balls themselves are goals. The X's are shots that fail to become a goal. So yeah, 5 shots, 3 goals. You can see that there. And we can just compare that real quick to the SofaScore heat map. And you can see it's very similar, right? I think that's going to happen. Where he spends his time most, you're going to see him get the ball most likely. But I do want to highlight that it looks like, he's getting the ball a lot here. This is a big section for him, right in that kind of midfield third. It looks like he's picking up. But he definitely loves to be on that kind of half space, right? Loves that half space. And a lot of shots are coming from fairly far out, right? I mean, there's an end, but he scored 1 outside box with another. This is just in the box, this goal. This one's a little further in. This one's pretty good shooting position, in my opinion. So that is just something I want to like initially kind of raise, right? So the idea of me writing this code is to kind of look to see if that might be an area of contention, right, where he's picking up the ball. You can see that the heat map itself, like the grass field, that just I just got that. And then the images, I just made little icons and put them in here. So nothing too crazy right now. Pitch color grass, you can see is the pitch actually provided from Stats Bomb. So super useful. If anyone wants to do something similar, right there are my icons for shot, goals, and assist will actually be a cleats here. So this is pass, goal, assist, true. I didn't pick up an assist, so you can't see that right now in this game. But yeah, so I'm gonna probably go through a lot of these key maps and compare the results and see what happens. And then yeah, this is just me getting the game stats from Sofa here and writing them down to the right. So this is kind of what I'm doing right now. This is the direction I'm going with. I think we're gonna do a lot more Python specific, helping with data analysis and game analysis, and hopefully we can kind of get a better look at what he was like as a player. In the past 2 seasons where he was performing quite well, and specifically how he's doing at this Liverpool. Where is he fitting in this Liverpool? Right. So the next video is going to be very much more in depth. This is just kind of an intro to help let me know. All right. Thanks.